for streaming in with us. SABIFF 2023. We are all about HBCU film love. The film that you just saw, NAPPY by Lydia Douglas. Lydia is actually an HBCU grad. She attended Howard University. And amazingly enough, this film is 25 years old. And so we want to get into a conversation where I'm going to bring in Lydia as well as Davette, and I'll introduce them when they come in, and basically talk about just the progress or lack thereof of natural hair, the issues surrounding it, the politics, and a whole bunch of other stuff that we'd like to bring to the fold. Ladies, welcome. We have the top, we have Lydia A. Douglas, the filmmaker, and the bottom there we have Davette Marbie.
Marbrie.
I'm totally messing that up just in the intro. Sorry, ladies.
It's okay.
And so we want to basically just have a really productive conversation on just hair in general. And I want to start with you, Lydia, because as a filmmaker myself, one of my first films, and it seems like it's like a thing with Black women doing their first film projects, to do either films on hair or identity or something that's relating to how it impacts us as women. And so what inspired you to want to do a film on hair and name it NAPPY?
Okay. Well, let's see. What inspired me was initially I was a still photographer, and I had done a slideshow. Remember slideshows? Where you put two slides together, and I was juxtaposing images of Black women and girls that I had taken with photographs and images that I had seen in the media. And I did not like what I was seeing in the media. It wasn't realistic. So initially I was going to somehow try to translate that project into a film. But my thesis advisor advised against it. And he said it would be too long. So he said, take a part of it that you think is very important. And the part of it that spoke to me was hair, because I believe that regardless of how you wear your hair, if you're a Black woman in America or any other colonized place, you could relate to the discrimination about hair. So that's why I decided to make a film about hair. And I wanted to call it NAPPY. I wanted something simple. I wanted something that people could remember and identify with. And even though, unfortunately, it is a derogatory term, I had hoped to, be able to associate natural hair, being happy with your natural hair, with the term NAPPY.
I don't really see NAPPY as negative, or I'm sorry. I mean, people do, but I don't see it as negative because I associate it with natural. So I don't know. Davette, why did you see that as negative?
I'm laughing because there is a generation of African American, especially the older men, that did not like seeing the edges of little girls having nappy hair. Your crown is your glory, but it needs to be straight because that's something that it's just supposed to be, and it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It is not. And nowadays, our new generation, girls are 25 years old and older talking about baby hair. Like, we don't have 40-year-old baby hair. And when it comes all the way down to here and it makes the little design, to me, it's just art. But stop calling that stuff baby hair. And then they look at me with my little nappy edges, and I got my song. I love my nappy edges because I do.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I mean, this is how God made me.
Yeah.
When I tried to put perms on my hair, which is one of the reasons why I just start to do nothing but braids, by the time I do that touch up, it goes away.
Mm-hmm.
It breaks down. I don't care how much conditioner, shampoo. And I started off as a braider. I went to college hygiene school because I wanted to know why Black women hair won't grow.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to spend that 45 for that perm, but we ain't gonna spend that 45 for that conditioner shampoo. So we lose it.
For real though. But no, I want to. For me, we all have our hair journeys. And
Yeah,
Lydia, for you
yeah.
making the film, what was your hair journey as it pertains to nappiness?
That's such a great question. And I'm thinking about you when you asked me why did I make the film Nappy and about hair, because when I was growing up, that's all I heard. Comb your nappy hair. This, that, your nappy hair.
Oh,
Can you
why
hear me?
don't you let those kids go out there with that nappy hair?
Yeah, kids
Yeah.
start with themselves. Oh my God,
It's,
it's just
it's
crazy.
it's really crazy. My daughter is studying African American women and African American women in hip hop. And one of the things that she recognized is that the influences that we have put on ourselves from generations before us by saying certain things to us, by
Good hair, bad hair.
belittling us and not realizing what you're doing. You making me not like what God gave me. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's amazing. We
So
talking about
how was that coming up? So obviously your mom didn't press and curl. My mom press and curl, but your mom didn't.
girl,
So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
so I mean, how was that growing up for you? How did that, even as a little girl,
It
emotionally
was it
impact?
was oh, go ahead, Davette.
No. It was I didn't really have I grew up in LA. I grew up in LA with looking at Angela Davis on television. You know, the sisters in LA was rocking they froze, they was rocking the two pom poms, they was like doing the cornrow braids. These braids that they're wearing now is the braids that I started out doing back in the late 70s. It's nothing new, ladies. It's nothing new. It's just what's old is new again. Let us know we've been here long enough to see it come back again and again. But yeah, it never really affected me on a prejudice way, to be honest, until I moved here to San Antonio. And that's when I started seeing the mentalness of people telling me that, oh no, we don't do that here. We don't know.
So it's a lot of I would say trauma. I would say hair trauma
Yeah, definitely.
depends on your geographical. Well, I would say family. It starts family internal, but it also will depend on your environment that you're in.
And what you have to work with.
Huh.
Yeah, now we got a whole new generations. By the time the 80s really hit, a lot of the brothers and sisters was getting job training. They was allowed to get job training, especially when Carter was in office. He was offering job training. You start getting that job training, you start making your money. Now you're working for the Ford company. Now you're working for whoever, and you moving out of the hood, and you're able to take your children and send them to the salon because you no longer had time to do it. And when that happened, we stopped teaching each other, our children, how to maintain and take care of their hair. I got a generation of young women never shampooed their hair before. And for me, I have to fix my face and be like, what? But then I realized, oh, okay, you came from a middle class family, then you didn't have to learn how to shampoo your hair. But
Right.
you come around me, you don't know how to shampoo your hair
Mm-hmm.
and condition it down.
Mm-hmm.
So the discrimination amongst ourselves comes 400 years ago by saying that we had to assimilate ourselves to make others comfortable.
Hmm.
Well, let's talk about that because that was the big discussion in the film. The whole thing about assimilation. What
Yeah.
what are some things that personally impacted you regarding that, and also what you learned from the film, from women in the film. And I want to emphasize this film is 25 years old. Ain't much changed.
Exactly, exactly. In fact, in some ways, I think we've gone backwards. So ask the question again, or what do we? Give me the
No,
topic.
I'm talking about the impact of being natural, of maintaining natural. What you learned in the film from your subjects, and also how you were impacted on how you chose to wear your hair coming up. What was the impact?
Well, let's see. From when I was young, I remember there being this association of natural hair with being casual. So like if you were going to church, you had to straighten your hair. Um, the association was also definitely, we wanted to assimilate. I remember when I was third grade, so maybe I was like 8 or 9, and my mom used to. I got mostly press and curl because my hair is very fine and very and kind of weak. So the perms would take, but it would break my hair off. So I mostly did press and curl. And I remember when I was younger, um, this little white boy said, "How come your hair is kind of like straight, and uh, you know, Cynthia's hair is in box braids or in braids?" He didn't have the words for that, but it was because I grew up. I grew up in Connecticut, in a small little white town in Connecticut, predominantly white. Went to a predominantly white school. My father was a teacher in an affluent school district around mostly white people. So there was more. I think there was more consciousness about assimilating in my family.
Okay.
Yeah,
Assimilation as it pertains to hair.
you're right. Hmm.
Hmm. Okay. And I just want to get just I want to talk about the and then I'm gonna switch over to just general hair in general. I want to kind of talk some film questions first. But how did you go about getting the folks involved in the film to give their testimonials, and how did people audition? Did you put an open call to
Yeah. Well,
folks?
this was 25 years ago.
Mhm.
So I did an open call in a newspaper, a city paper in Washington D.C.
Yeah.
And so my call was for women who had made a commitment to wearing their hair natural. Not somebody who was going to be like natural today and then 2 weeks going to wear a weave and then another 3 weeks going to cut it. And so it was like women who had made a commitment to, always wearing it natural, their own hair, which a little aside, I always have to, I always have to define what natural hair is when I have discussions because women think straightening their hair is natural. It's not, because that's not how it grows out of your head.
Yes.
So, anywho, that's yeah. So that's what I did, and then there were women. Since I was on campus, there were a lot of women that wanted to work on the film and wanted to do research, and help me out finding music and just all sorts of stuff. So that's how I got the women. 2 or 3 of the women were referred to me. One
Hmm.
of the women, the white woman that adopted the little black girl, she was my neighbor. I thought that would be very interesting
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
she said she didn't want to straighten her daughter's hair, and in fact, she used to hire me to braid her hair.
So you did learn how to braid too, coming
I
up.
did, but I knew how to braid, but I got more practice. I got practice.
Yes.
Good. So you had made a statement earlier. You said that you think that things have gotten worse with natural hair. Because I mean, is that because I don't know if it's just me, and I'm the kind of person where I'm like, wear your hair anyway, however you feel comfortable. I don't discriminate because you have your hair and whatever, whatever. I'm not one of those people. But I will say that within the last, I don't know if it's 20 years, maybe less, weaves have just skyrocketed.
Yeah,
I mean, over natural hair, over braids, over fro. I mean, just like a gazillion percent from what they used to be.
yeah,
And I mean, even in Africa, when I went to Ghana, when I went to, I'm wearing my hair in braids, and these little girls are at the beauty shop getting their hair with weaves, as hot as it was. So I mean, I don't know the phenomenon or the what. I mean, what is going on? It's just the influence of media, music video. I mean, what?
yeah. I don't think we can downplay and underestimate the influence of the media, especially now that we have social media, where there's so many different ways that the colonizer can bombard us with these images. Because we've got the regular media TV, we've got streaming, we've got commercials, we've
Yeah.
got Instagram. Instagram is like one of the biggest, the most notorious for making women and girls feel bad about themselves. Um, TikTok, like everything, we're just bombarded with it.
Hmm.
That's crazy. And it has always been $1 million business. It has always.
We had more stake in it at one time. Now it's like the Koreans and the,
Well,
whoever else selling the weaves have taken over.
they have always. The hair really, as Kirk Rock exposed, is coming in from India, what we consider the good hair. And we have always been the ones who did the labor because it was us who taught each other. But when it comes to really going into a beauty supply business and getting in with them, then they're blocking. They're blocking. So what it's going to take, to be honest, it's like 5 or 6 African American putting their serious money down on the line, 50,000, and just buying a crate of hair. Like when you see the train coming in, then you buy, no, really, you buy that hair, and then all the beauty stores put their percentage in and they get the hair, and that's how they divide it up.
Mhm.
But one individual person, like the sister here in San Antonio, Wall to Wall Beauty, she's over there and her store is stocked really, really well. It's hard breaking into that business. And then you got to turn around and try to make your money back,
Mhm.
and then we're saying, man, you charging $2 for these rubber bands. Well, the Chinaman charging me 99 cents. I'm going to go over there and deal with him.
Hmm. Wow.
But I don't. I go over to the sister.
There you
Hey,
go.
I
There you go with the combs on the wall. Yes.
Absolutely.
No, I want to do that. I want to really talk about, because you're a hair activist as well as a braider. I mean, you mentioned that you come from a family of women where everybody had girls, which is amazing. And
yeah.
so everybody learned how to braid, and then you just, I want to just, what is your journey into natural hair? Um,
To be honest, I was just one of those kids who liked working with their hands. I started off learning how to crochet from a Mexican American woman that lived next door to me. I live in the neighborhood with everybody. I lived in LA. And then my mom's friend came over and she braided my older sister's hair. And I just sat there and I watched her hands. I watched that lady's hands like for 4 hours.
wow.
And it took me a year or so before I can get a hold of some hair. And my mama was a hotel operator and she would bring, you know how people leave stuff behind. Well, somebody left a big box of wigs and they had a share wig.
Oh
And I
wow.
took my time and I cut all that hair off that long wig, braided my brother's hair, got halfway, and we didn't have money to go get more hair. Hair was like 99 cents at the time. And she took it down, but I got a chance to do it. And then I just picked it up, and when I picked it up, it wasn't like I was even thinking about the money. I just loved doing it. And then I was babysitting this woman's and I did her baby's hair and her baby's baby doll's hair. And she says, well, next time I go get my hair braided, I'm going to tell Linda about you. Linda was the first African American woman in Los Angeles on Crenshaw that opened up all braiding shop called the Braidery.
Huh.
At that time, the state of Texas Cosmetology Board got on her, and we went to court. And the state, not I'm sorry, not Texas, California, and the state of California released braiders from cosmetology back in the early 80s. So I just was around those women and I was 14 years old because I lied. I told her I was 16 because you weren't supposed to work. But I was a good kid. Nobody never asked me for no paperwork.
Hmm.
I lied through my teeth to my counselors. No one ever asked me for paperwork. They were like, okay, you go right ahead. She's
Wow.
a good girl. She's respectful. She's good. It's called trading profession. But what I learned was the business end. I learned that people who have money, they don't want a discount. They just want you to do their hair correctly. You're not doing them a favor by giving them a discount.
Hmm.
They just want a professional job done. And this is what I'm trying to train with generational mentorship to the sisters and brothers that are coming up, to the brown and black babies. I'm just letting them know this is a true profession.
Yeah.
Where else you can go and make from 40 to 50,000 plus with a high school education? I got a GED education because they kicked me out of high school.
Hmm.
Not because I was a bad kid, But because I didn't fit in, because I had money to hang out at the garment district every Sunday, so I was going to school outdressing everybody. Like, who is she? The teacher thought I was a teacher. The teacher's like, she's not in the lounge. How does she fit in here? And they sent me to the school psychiatrist about for a month, and he just says, it's like you here, you at the prom, you're in the middle of the floor, but you're not dancing. And I told that man, I never forget it. I'm just trying to save me enough of money to get my own apartment because I'm tired of my brother making me wash the dishes.
That was the vision. That was the vision.
Love it.
One of the things that for me is very key is that hair braiding, locking, this the whole naturalness of everything. That is an art. And so you
Yeah.
were talking, and I don't think it's classified as an art. But you give us the distinction between cosmetology school versus braiders?
I would love to. Cosmetology is hair and chemicals, is hair and science. Braiders and lock technicians is hair and art because we're taking braids and we're creating by intertwining and twisting and making beautiful sculptures. And it's from hair. Some of them can be very simple by parting and taking it straight back. And then some of it can be very elegant and intricate where it just looks like you have to realize that a lot of this came from slavery.
Mhm.
How
They
so?
would
How so? Give a break that down, girl.
they would cornrow different patterns and styles to give people direction on which way to go through the rills and through the mountains and the rivers. They had certain codes. Same thing with the coding. If they know that they was getting ready to get shipped away, they would put seeds, corn seeds, whatever seeds, pea seeds inside their cornrows. So when they get to where they got, they can undo their hair in back of the shed, back in the woods. They would plant their own gardens. And Master had no idea.
Hmm.
See, Master thought he was just giving us scraps. But we would work your land when the day was up. But when the moon came up, because we remember we didn't have no light pollution then, we can see. We were out there gardening, getting our own foods together. We had to hunt for rabbit and squirrel, but then we had to hide the bones because we didn't want Master to know that we had some good meat. So, we are a very intelligent, common sense type of people. We're
Mhm.
not going to get into the ones like yourself that are educated.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So they have been underestimating us for a really long time. That's why they start stripping us down to the bottom of the boats because we were rebelling.
And I think the discrimination, I mean, the underestimation is there, but to add discrimination on top of it based upon your hair and how you choose to wear it,
The,
whether it's natural or
the discrimination is not just coming from white people, it's coming from all people
I agree.
because our hair is not straight. It doesn't look like theirs. I don't know why it's so intimidating.
Right.
That's
And
a question.
we don't even know the percentage of interracial babies we got floating around here. Hair is wilder than African hair.
Hmm.
Like that little little boy, he dancing, he take off his hat and his hair just goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Hair love.
Boy
Yeah.
can be smart as a whip. He
Yeah,
can
I
be
don't know why it's so discriminating as well.
he can be a banker. He can be a CEO over any corporation. But because of his hair, people have issues. They don't want to listen to anything he has to say.
But it's
And
not like you said, it's not just white people that have issues.
it's not just the
They're the
white
ones
people.
passing the laws though.
It
Right. What I think is ironic is that white people are the ones that are doing the discriminating and at the same time mimicking our hair in so many ways. Like I saw this girl at a restaurant today, two cornrows in the night, and her hair was kind of curly, two cornrows in the back, or maybe they were French braids because that's what they kind of do,
uh-huh,
and
uh-huh,
a real cute little poofy
uh-huh.
bun in the back.
I got one better than that. There is this white woman with blonde frolocks. Fro
Okay,
locks are artificial locks.
bro.
She's sitting in a chair, and the woman is cutting her locks off, and she's handing it to her, and she's taking the locks. She's like, honey, you ain't grew nothing. You don't understand that feeling. I wore my locks for 11 years.
Mm.
This is my third set. I wore my locks for 11 years, and I decided that I wanted to see my bald head.
Hmm.
This happened in 17. I went to see my bald head. I stood right here in my studio. I took the scissors and I cut. And this feeling just went all over my body. It was just not a tingly nerve type of feeling, but I just got this feeling that came through my body. And then I was like, ooh, I got to finish now because I started right here on purpose.
Mm.
And I went to the barber shop and I shaved my head bald because I wanted to see my scalp. You know how many
Mhm.
people was telling me that I need to see a psychiatrist or a psychologist? I'm going through something. I
Wow.
just don't realize that I'm going through something. And I said, what I'm going through is that I want to see my bald scalp. I look at Steve Harvey every day. Family Feud. I look at Steve Harvey so much. I say that's my boyfriend, and then the little baby say I saw your boyfriend at my grandma's house. I'm like, what boyfriend do I have at your grandma's house? Steve Harvey. I just wanted to. He inspired me, and I did it. And the next morning, I woke up and I felt ashamed because my mama started crying when she saw me. My daughter started cussing when she saw me. My neighbor looking at me like I'm sick.
Wow.
Sick. And you know what I did, ladies? I got up and I said, I am going to be Walmart people this morning. I got myself dressed. I put my lipstick on, aka my makeup, and I went through Walmart and I had my head up high and I got eye contact with people. And you'd be amazed at how many people could not look me back in my eye. There's nothing with this body that says cancer. There's nothing with this body that says one of my organs are failing. I just wanted to see my scalp.
But
And
isn't it amazing what you have
you
to
know
go
what
through
happened?
mentally?
Now, look at what happened. 18, Black Panther comes out. And what did we see?
Hmm.
A bunch of bald headed women. Now
Right.
everybody's shaving their head because it's fashionable.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's just the, I don't know, power of the media,
It
I
doesn't
guess. But
matter what
it's
we
amazing what you go through. Your hair really dictates a lot of time how
dictate
you feel about
how
yourself, how
you feel
others feel about you.
about
We were
your
talking earlier about little babies that get their hair braided with braids, how that makes them feel so good, and
yeah.
so your hair really has such an impact on your feeling, your emotional feeling, your well being.
It's right up there with the clothes that wear on your body.
It's
Mm.
beyond the clothes to me because you could be naked and still your hair would dictate still more. I mean, to me, people will look at you.
Yeah.
I even talk about it in my film. People will look at you and have a whole
How they
story about you
made up a
based upon how you come with
whole
your hair.
different type of story of who you are. That's why I'm just like moving into a room and I'm just quiet and I just listen. I'm just quiet and I just listen. I just got my hair done. I get my hair done 3 times a year because I like my nappy hair. I like my nappy edges. When I first noticed Toni Morrison, I was like, Toni never get her maintenance. But then I grew to love her nappy hair. And I do it like that on purpose. I
Yeah,
don't care where I'm at, if I'm in a banquet, a ballroom, an executive room, my edges are nappy
yeah.
and it smells good.
Mm. I know they smell good. You know, Ada, a while ago you made a comment and then you had asked me, you said something about why do I think we're going backwards. So
Mhm.
um I've been teaching high school and looking at the girls with the long, I mean, like, black people, especially black women, when we do something, we do it like extra. So now
Bam.
we got, so now they got the hair, the extension and whatnot past their knees. And what I notice is that I think I can count, like in the last 6 months, how many black women I've seen with braids that where their hair is not permed,
Mhm.
where their hair is always either bone straight permed or slicked back with the gel, So, my niece had her hair braided. I think it was like a week, and it started to itch. And so I said, I mean, I don't really know nothing about braids. So, but I said, well, why can't you just rinse it and just rinse the gel out? Because that seems like what's making it flake. And she said that she couldn't do that. So she took everything, she took the braids out like after a week. And she should have a week. And what was I gonna say? Yeah, she said, I said, so what's going on? She said, Auntie, if I wash it or even just rinse it, the braids, you're going to start to see like the little frayed parts of the braids. I couldn't imagine that because it was like pulled really tight. So there's this obsession with not seeing the actual curl pattern of our hair. And that's what I mean when I say that I think it's gotten worse. We
Mm-hmm.
can't even see our hair texture, even with an
Mm-hmm.
African inspired hairstyle.
Mm-hmm.
Can't
Oh
do it.
wow.
And in terms of like women having different styles, it's like I think it's one thing if you want to, go with the trend, go with the style, but it's almost like I said, we're obsessed. Like
Do not
we
want to
can't
see
stop.
it.
We
I've
can't
been
like not wear we
yes,
can't not wear our braids
your
with the
natural hair.
extensions.
I've been braiding hair for over 43 years and I have never used a gel because in my mind I'm clogging up your pores and like you said, the situation where you feel like you can't shampoo it. This is why I'm forming the Natural Hair Society to train women, to train their clients that yes, you can shampoo your hair and it should not fall apart after one washing. A good set of braids should last you at least for 90 to 120 days.
A good set without the gel, because I noticed that with my
Yeah.
grandbabies, they're putting gel on after they braid
Yeah,
to keep it down.
like she said, they want to see the slick, the smoothness, and but if you put the braids in correctly, you won't see the new growth until it grows out. So they're doing this new technique that allows the hair to grow out quicker and the braids doesn't last as long. They call them knotless braids. It's nothing new. We've been doing it for years, but we also found out that if we use another technique, the braids last longer. So if you got a young girl and she wants to brace down to her butt, which we used to do that in the 80s, that is nothing new. We did it in the 80s. Remember Jane Child, the little Italian girl that had the braids all the way down to her ankle, and everybody started wearing extremely long braids. So you realize you're pulling out your follicle, which means you're tearing up your hair and your scalp. It's too
Hmm.
heavy. It's a pretty look, but it's just too heavy. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And then my theory is if you take care of your hair correctly, in 15 years, your hair will be that long. But don't nobody want to do all that work for some serious kinky hair. It's time
Hmm.
consuming and it's work. But
I
yeah,
want.
that's what it is. We've been brainwashed, I agree. We've been brainwashed to think that you're not supposed to see your nappy edges.
Hmm.
And that's why I sing my song, I love my nappy edges. I got them. I got edges.
Yeah.
I keep slicking, I keep doing this, that, all this is damaged.
Huh.
Exactly.
And it falls out and it takes years. Sometimes it's no getting it back.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes years to get that bulb motivated to get it to start producing again.
No, I remember when I had locks. They grew long quickly. 3 years they were down here, but I
Yeah.
remember when I cut my hair totally off. I cut everything off, and
Hmm.
I had like little pockets where hair didn't grow, and
Hmm.
now it's grown back. It's been years, but I don't know. I think they may have been too heavy at a certain point. I'm not
Yeah, it's
sure.
that, and it's a factor of a lot of different things. You know what I mean? Why our hair doesn't grow, which is the only reason why I went to cosmetology school. I wanted to learn how to cut. And I did not understand. The only time that I saw black women hair grow is when I kept it in braids. But
Hmm.
that theory is we're not disturbing it so we can see the new growth. You
Hmm.
but like I said, we slap that perm on there and then we want the honey blonde on there. And then even when you go to the salon, having cosmetology background, in order for your hair to look like something, we have to cut and shape it.
Hmm.
So if we constantly cutting and shaping, no, it's not. We're not going to see the growth because
Mm.
we're constantly cutting and shaping it.
Hmm.
And why do we need to see it growing? That's the other thing. It's like, I mean, if
Well,
it's healthy, why are we obsessed with? it growing, including myself.
Girl, didn't your daddy now tell you your hair, your crown and glory, and don't you ever cut it? It goes back 400 years ago. It goes back 400 years ago.
Hmm.
It's something just embedded in us. I was talking to my daughter. I also found out that black slave would downrate their sons so they won't get sold off.
Hmm.
You don't want to buy him. He ain't no good. He don't pick good. He don't pick good. You don't want to buy him because she didn't want to see her baby get shipped away.
Hmm.
So we're still doing that, and we're not realizing that's what we're doing. That's why when I gave birth to my daughter, it was my commitment to raise this young person. And I did everything in my power to make sure that she had every opportunity that she thought she wanted. She's a powerhouse, and she could have been a dumb butt. All that energy we put into these little people, we don't know what they're going to be. But I just knew that I was dealing with a black woman in American society that had to be strong.
Yeah.
My mama raised me.
Yeah.
You gotta do it. You just do it. You don't think about it.
Yeah.
But now, thank God, we're educated and we're teaching ourselves self-love. Love your nappy hair.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I want to go into hair activism because and the whole politics behind hair because I want you to tell us about the San Antonio locks, but also I want to talk about the Crown Act and what that is and why it came to be. And
Ah,
I
man.
know I
Well,
mixed two questions into one. Let's talk about San Antonio locks first, and then I want to move into the Crown Act
okay.
because
San Antonio Lodge is Society is what I named it, and it's gonna be changed from San Antonio to just Natural Hair Society because I realize now this is bigger than me. This is something that God has put on my heart. It needs to be done. I I'm going to use the word we. We need to have some professional standards to let Americans know we are a legit profession,
hmm
just like any other profession. We have to do some generational mentorship. And that's what I'm trying to teach now is the generational mentorship.
hmm
We teach each other techniques. The technique comes from us. We have people that are developing stuff every day. Every single day, God is giving something to one of us. You know what I mean? And just prepare them for being professional. Pay
hmm
your taxes. How to operate your money when you make it. Because sometimes we make money and it goes away so fast. You make it, it goes away so fast. You be like, you know what I mean? How to be prepared, to prepare for your future.
hmm
You become older and you can't stand up there no more. If you get arthritis, I pray you don't. Thank God I have never had problems with my hands. Now, my feet, my ankles, my back, that's a different story.
Yeah.
My hands is hand position. You got to have the right finger position where you don't stretch your hands out so bad. So that's what it's all about. It's just that generational mentorship to let each other know for that next generation, for those grandbabies that are being born now. I want their grandbabies to have history, like this film you've done, like this conversation we're having right now. They can go back and they can search and they can find it
Right.
to let them know. Yeah. So we have a big screen with the whole nappy hair thing in my generation when we had the big fros. They were perfect. But these babies are waking up not combing their hair. I'm
hmm
like, honey, you got 6 inches of hair on your head. You got to swish it. You got to moisturize it. You just can't waking up looking like,
Yeah.
and I do hair and I'm an old person.
hmm
I can't accept that because it's not that I don't think it's not presentable. It just look like you don't care.
Yeah. Have
Yeah.
some pride.
Process, did you brush your teeth, bro? That's what it looks like. So that's the shift that I'm seeing and I'm noticing. Having seen the girl with the long, long braids, I did that. I got pictures, with girls' braids that long that I have done back
Mhm.
in the 80s, and I just laugh because they think it's something new. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I
nothing.
know. I know. Back in the day when I was in DC, Lydia, we were there kind of around the same time. There was a lot of lawsuits that were coming up about hair, the whole discrimination that people were suing and winning. Being in corporate America with hair. It's beyond that now. I want to move into talking about the Crown Act, what that is. Tell us
Yeah,
the history of that.
that Crown Act is we have to go through some stuff in order for stuff to be the norm.
Hmm.
And I don't want to yell, pass the Crown Act so, people can get sued. That's not my intention. But these young people looking at, oh, well, if you say something about my hair, I'm gonna sue you. No, it's not even about that. And I need this law to pass across the United States. When I was coming up, there were some words we did not call gay people. There were certain words that, you weren't supposed to call the police. But now this new generation don't know those nerve words because we made it the norm not to do that.
Hmm.
And that's all I'm saying. Just make it the norm. Just make it the norm. It's no way that a sister gets hired from a CEO at a corporation, and she shows up to work in her hair in locks, and they tell her, "We're so sorry to tell you, but you cannot wear your hair like that.
Hmm.
You hired me, you paid me to relocate down here. I'm showing up for work, and you telling me no?
Hmm.
That's not right. It's just hair, people. It's just hair.
Right.
You
What,
know,
what what was the history behind that? You were saying something about Dallas. The sisters started braiding school.
there's a sister by the name of Isis, and Isis was the first braider that they tried to prosecute against. There was an African American cosmetology school in Dallas also. They got upset with Isis because Isis started her own business. Granted, I'm here in San Antonio coming in from Los Angeles, and I started my own business right outside my little apartment. I stayed there until I was able to purchase my home. Now I'm in my home, in my studio that you guys see with the combs used to be the garage. But now when you walk in here, it looks like a studio. It didn't happen overnight, but we got it done. Anyway, Isis lawyer contacted me because she needed help as another professional. And then I end up getting involved with Texas Cosmetology Board. I was the person who consulted them. I was the person who helped them write the test for braiders and the rules and regulations for braiders because I told them we do not need 1,500 hours. We need 150 hours. So I had a group of people around me who was educating me as I was educating them because I'm just a braider. I'm an artist. I'm not a politician.
Hmm.
So I found out that the nail tech community only had to have 150 hours, and all they needed was 150 square footage of space to start their business. So I piggybacked off the rules and regulations that they had. Isis, the breeder in Dallas, decided that she wanted to start teaching. So when she started teaching, that same African American cosmetology school pressed charges against her and had her arrested.
Mm.
Having a braiding school. Now keep in mind there's no rules, no laws or nothing in there for us having a braiding school, but they went in there, arrested the baby. And she got to the point to where she started lobbying in Dallas, and a group of people who basically help people who feels that the United States government has gave them injustice took over our case, and we won. And that's when the governor signed a bill, piggybacking with California, that cosmetology is no longer governed over braiders or lock technicians. What my
Hang on,
sister
let me just say this, Lydia. Guess what year this was? Davette? Tell us what year.
1997.
No, tell us, Davette. This is
Well,
crazy. This is crazy.
2019.
Pre-COVID.
The
Isn't that
same
insane? I
year,
mean,
the same year that the Crown Act came about. Now you guys got to realize the only reason the Crown Act has gotten so far is from the Dove Corporation. Guess what I got in my counter now? I use Dove soap. I use Dove lotion because that was one corporation that took it over the top to letting Americans know the wrong and injustice is done to us by our hair,
Mm.
Yeah.
because of our hair. You got the everybody's side. I'm not going to say everybody. For those who didn't see it, there's a young man that was in a wrestling match. And the referee decided that he could not wrestle his championship for his school because he had his hair long. And they chopped that baby's hair off
Mm.
in front of everybody.
Mm.
There's another young man that was in Houston, Texas. We're talking about a young man that almost have a 4.0 average in high school. Principal told him he could not walk across the stage because he had his hair locked. Granted, he had his hair locked since the 10th grade.
Yeah.
Now all
It's
of
a
a
whole power
sudden, oh,
struggle.
you can't wear your hat. Why I can't put my hat on? I just get a larger hat, sir. Why I can't wear my?
It's a power struggle because when we wear our hair natural, it goes against the Eurocentric standard. And it's just like, it's like one area that they can't control us. That one area they try to control,
Hmm.
but they really can't control. How do you control what God put in your head?
Yeah.
They can't. And it just messes with
And
them.
then they sitting up there acting like they got the best. Don't nobody want no white straight hair that every morning is all tangled up. That's why you gotta wash your hair every day. Because it get oily, you can't style it. And then if you don't wash it more than 3 days, it casts off a funky odor that will stink up an elevator in 2 seconds. And
But
you
we
ain't got no
digress.
mercury in your hair.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, I
make
mean,
me feel bad because my hair is kinky. I got the best hair in this world. I can wear it straight. I
Right.
can wear it in an afro the next day. I can twist it. I can curl it.
Right.
A black woman
Exactly.
can go to work in 1 week with a different hairstyle if she has the energy.
I just thought of something. I don't know what
Yeah.
year this was. It's not funny, but it definitely speaks to how versatile our hair is and how powerful our hair is. Do you remember Cynthia McKinney, the congresswoman? She was racially profiled because she changed her hairstyle, and the Capitol Hill police did not recognize her.
I
I
don't
remember
know.
that was when I was
Judge
living.
Maybelline. When Judge Maybelline decided that she was going to wear her hair in braids, she lost her show.
Well. Michelle Obama came out after the president, after they left the presidency with her braids, and she's sporting her braids comfortably now. But
Because
she
I
said
said she
it. She said,
wanted to
"I didn't want
travel
any
and
more attention. I didn't want any more issues."
she wants to travel and she don't want to comb her hair.
Right.
Right.
That's why I'm telling braiders, summertime is peak season for us.
Yeah.
This is when you need to sell. You going to Jamaica, you need your hair braided. So you can
Hmm.
get up early and go.
Yep.
Right.
And not only black women, I'm getting Latino women, I'm getting white women. They know.
Wow.
Look it up. I
Yeah.
don't have to worry about it and I can swim.
Hmm.
You
No, it's amazing.
I think that the Crown Act is signed, it's either in 23 or 26 states. So it's almost half the country.
Yeah, almost. And really, it's the west side of the United States.
Okay. Okay.
All up and down that Pacific coast. When I looked at the map, I just smiled because that's my hometown. But I just really smiled, and a little bit on the East Coast, and
Right. Because it's signed here in Connecticut.
yeah, in
Thank
Connecticut.
you, Robin,
Yeah, yeah,
Senator Porter.
yeah.
So
New
what?
I
What
believe it
can?
was,
What
Orleans,
can? What can
Virgin
we?
Islands signed.
Mhm. Now I'm just I don't know where it is in Texas. It's still in the legislator, right? They
Well,
haven't.
it made the congressman, so now it's going to the governor, and once the governor signed it, it's okay. And I think he will.
Mhm.
It might take him a second, but I think he will. And this is why I do not want people to yell lawsuit too much right now because that'll give them a reason to say no. I be telling my young babies, "Shh, don't put that on, don't put that on," because you got some states that already passed, and you got some states that they're doing stuff. But y'all need to keep that on the hush until it's across the board.
Mhm.
That's what I'm asking because they just boasting. You don't. It's not even your case. Why are you talking about this? And
Mhm.
then my daughter was telling me that she found a group of white people were upset because we had the Crown Act on the docket. Why,
Why would that be upsetting?
why are you worried about a nappy hair? I'm not a farmer, so I'm not going to follow your issue.
Right.
You understand what I mean? I'm not, I'm not a trucker, so I'm not going to follow the issue with the gas situation. That's
Mm-hmm.
not what I do on the
Mm-hmm.
norm, unless it's something really major and it's just common sense knowledge that we all should know.
Mm-hmm.
But why are white people upset that we're trying to get you to understand, accept it? It's the norm.
Mm-hmm. So
Now,
go ahead.
now I feel that just like anything else, you need to be dressed for certain situations. You will not go to a courthouse in a party dress. You will not go to church looking crazy. And you shouldn't go to work looking crazy neither. Just because this law passed, comb your hair. If you want to wear your own Afro kinky hair or your extra curly wavy hair, and you just want to wear a natural, comb it and let it be beautifully naturally. But don't go in there with this side smashed down to your head. You're not representing nobody. Look like you're ungroomed. There's a difference between being beautiful and proud and look like you ungroomed.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between the two.
Mm-hmm.
Big difference, you know?
I mean, it's a pride thing as well. I mean, you have to wear your hair with pride. I mean, you should be wearing your hair. You should
Yes.
have
But
pride.
it's their babies. They call themselves rebelling, but it's not a good look.
Hmm.
It's not a good look.
So here we are celebrating Nappy 25 years later. We're still dealing with discrimination, hair politics. We're still having to be activists for our hair and stand up for the rights for our hair. What do we have in terms of suggestions or recommendations for those that are watching this that are just wear their hair. They just want to be free. They just want a hair revolution. They want to be free and just have a revolution and just wear their hair. They want to go. What do we have to say to those people who just want hair freedom in the world?
I would really and truly recommend everyone because it's different from city to city, state to state. Google Crown Act. Google the Crown Act and see what's going on in your community and go to your local politician offices and let them know this is something that needs to be done, especially if you were discriminated against. If you send your baby to school and her hair is braided and the teacher got issues with that, okay, I gotta admit, sometimes we put the beads in the baby head and she too busy playing with the beads instead of getting her lesson. That I do understand, but you do not have the right to cut my child beads out of her hair because you're frustrated. You send her to the office and you guys contact me and let me fix it. Period. But the Crown Act, once again, is something that just needs to be the norm in the United States. The braider and lactation professions need to just be the norm in the United States. You know how many times I hear my cousin can do it? If your cousin to do it, why she's not doing it? Because it's time consuming and she don't want to do it. So now you mad you gotta come over here and help me pay my bills.
Hmm.
But you want your hair done. So let it just be the norm where you automatically know if I go to this person, when we call a plumber, it used to be $60. Remember, everybody know back in the 80s, you call a plumber, it's automatically $60 and it was automatically $80. Now it's automatically $150 if we call a plumber. You go to a braiding shop, you're gonna know you're gonna spend a couple of hundred if you want a really good job. Or you go find your hustler that say $75 and you get what you get and you don't pitch a fit. And if you end up with no edges,
It's an art. It's an
it's
art.
not.
Profession is art.
And some of us, like me, die, sleep, and think about hair all the time. I'm just not getting to the point in my life to where I don't obsess over hairstyles I have to do.
Hmm.
There was a time in my life, if I looked at a ring light, I saw patterns of cornrows in my mind.
Wow.
And it would bother me until I found the right hair texture with the right hair length. Because every hair texture and every hair length doesn't work for every technique. And that's another thing I need to train my braiders and my lock technicians. Some stuff we just can't do on you. We can
Hmm.
kind of duplicate it, but it's not going to look like that. You don't
Mhm.
have the right hair texture. Your hair too long, your hair too short, whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
Well, what I would say is I made the film to support women who are on that edge of straightening their hair and perming it to going natural. So I would say watch films like Nappy. What's that other one? Hair Love.
Middle
Just
Passage and Roots.
Middle Passage and Roots. Thank you. Watch films and that support natural hair.
Research.
Turn off the TV. I know that's pretty radical. Stop. Uh, just like cut back. I would say I don't know if people are going to stop, but cut back on social media because they are not supporting the natural look. Even those YouTube channels that are supposedly for natural hair, they only support one type of hair. And the whole thing of braiding hair. To me, that's like a whole other conversation. When I started wearing my hair natural, I spent a lot of time with Rastafarians, um, just people who were into what I was into. So, you know, excuse me, you just got to really be in situations and around people that support what you want to do, and
Mhm.
that support feeling good about your African self.
Mhm. And there are films, books, talking to people, to professionals like Davette. I know you teach classes and all of that, but there's a lot out there to really educate yourself so you can become happy with what you have, proud of what you have on your head, the God given um, mange, locks that you were
And
born with.
I just need to add one more thing. Back in the early 90s, I was at a natural hair seminar, and there's a group of sisters sitting around, and we were talking about what effect does chemicals really have on our body? What effect does hair dye really have? What effect does the perms really have on our body? Now, thank you, Jesus. We finally got a team of people to do that research, and I know you all know about the class action suit.
Right.
So
Yeah,
it's kind of
yeah,
crazy. When are we gonna stop abusing our bodies? And it doesn't happen to everybody, but you're taking a chance of using something so you can be accepted around that group of people that you're in. But when you step outside the world, now your body's broken down and you're sick because you've been doing these chemicals. Some
hmm,
people get chemicals on their scalp every 6 weeks.
yeah.
Yeah, their hair grows long because the stylist is using the correct shampoo and conditioners on it. But
Hmm.
every 6 weeks, you get this much of new growth, and you gotta put a.
Mm.
Girl, deep breath.
I told myself
Ladies,
when I talk about my industry, I get really passionate because, to
yeah.
be honest, I got my education from behind the chair, ladies. Honestly, I've been behind the chair since the age of 14, and I have worked with so many people with so many different walks of life.
Hmm.
From the ones who just came out of homelessness to the one that's made their 6 million. You understand what I mean? So it impacts me when I sit and I think about it and then think about the HELL that they give us because of our hair. We're just trying to maintain our style.
Yeah,
I don't lock my hair because I'm on a spiritual journey. I lock my hair because I wanted long hair.
you liked it. Yeah, you
And
liked
I
it.
didn't want to, and I didn't want to comb it. And this is what I was telling the sisters back when 2000 hit. I said, lots gonna hit, lots gonna hit, lots gonna be the next Jerry curl. You're gonna find a lot of black men want to wear their hair locked because they want the long, long, long hair. Lots gonna hit like now everywhere you go. My accountant, I went to do my taxes, girl. He says, Davette, did you was real? I was watching 4x4 March Madness, and just about every player had braids or locks. It says, it's been like that for the last decade, dude. You just notice it because of me. Like when your friend get a new car, then you start noticing that car.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ada, I think
Been
if
that way.
white women could come to work with their hair wet, black women can come to work with their hair locked, braided, or whatever.
Or come to work with blue hair. It's just fun. It's just something different.
Right. And that has nothing to do with their culture.
But if we come with a cornrow hairset that's done up, that's very elegant, it's like that's theatrical. Theatrical?
Yeah.
Theatrical. You can't come up with another word for my hair but theatrical and no shit.
Mm-hmm. Oh
No,
yeah. But
no.
ladies, this has been a really good discussion. I could go on and on about hair. I know you all can too.
Girl, I got to get out of here too.
I
I
know you gotta
You.
get out of here. But thank you so
thank
much.
you,
I
thank you
appreciate
both.
you both. Keep doing what you do.
Yes, just I thank
Another
you.
25 years, Nappy is here. We're gonna be celebrating.
Yes,
Keep doing
Lord.
your teaching.
Yes.
We're gonna definitely uplift the Crown Act
And
here
one
in
more time, how do we pull up Nappy online? The movie?
Lydia.
You.
Where can I see Nappy? You working on
I'm
getting that?
working on getting it online.
Okay,
So
excellent.
um, work on contact me on Instagram, and then I'll
Yeah,
post it, and
because
I'll
Give
let you
me
know.
give me your email again. I didn't save in my banner. Give me your email address again, Lydia.
yeah,
pzhead2 at gmail.com.
Okay, so that's how we can reach Lydia pzhead2 at gmail.com. And Davette is through the sanantoniolocks.com.
.com. Yeah.
Okay. And so I want to thank you all. You all have a good rest of your week, month, year, and keep doing
Thank
what
you,
you
ladies, for your hard
Thank
work and
you.
your research. My
do.
industry appreciate you, and I'll probably be using your research for my students.
Yes.
Give them something to do.
Yes. Yes. You all take care.